bet. Force. Right? I was right. Just a stupid connection. It's always just a stupid. You know what? Whenever you have a problem, it's always the last thing you look that fixes it, and it's always something stupid.
Always.
It's always something stupid, like a 10-cent part, which kind of makes you wonder if they're putting in cheap parts into this thing, heading up to knock the satellite off of its trajectory before it crashes into Earth and destroys all intelligent life.
Yep.
Well, all life. I'm not sure there's intelligent life here much anymore, I'm afraid. So the near-Earth objects, these are asteroids, these are comets, the orbits place them within 30 million miles of Earth. Sounds, I guess in astronomical terms, that's pretty close. Detecting the threat of near-Earth objects, or NEOs. Tell me we're not in the Matrix.
Yep.
Tell me we're not in the Matrix. That's like deja vu. When you have deja vu, that's a glitch in the Matrix. You know that, right?
I had always heard that, but, and I don't experience deja vu very often. I would say probably I've had it 3 or 4 times.
But when you do it, it feels like you've had it before, right?
I mean, and it's in the weirdest, oddest places, too.
See?
I'll be talking to Misty just walking down the hallway and go,
right?
I've been here before.
What, with her lecturing you mean?
Maybe.
So it's possible. So these, I guess it's been 20 years that Didymus and Dimorphos have been threatening the Earth. It's a binary system involving a near-Earth asteroid. They found it had a, Dimorphos is the big one, and then I guess Didymus is the moon. In Greek, Didymus means twin. Did you know that?
I did not.
See, you've learned something already this morning.
I did, absolutely.
We are sending up a freaking rocket with a freaking thingy on it, and it's going to freaking save the planet. Is that cool or what? I mean, we have come a long way, baby. Have we not?
Yes.
We have
a rocket with a thingy on it.
A rocket with a thingy on it. I thought yesterday or the day before, I thought, we don't play enough Madonna on Earworm Wednesday. I remember back in the 80s when I was just starting this illustrious broadcast career of mine, playing 45s. Remember those? Remember 45 records?
45, I do.
And you'd get them and you'd put them on the turntable and you'd put the needle on them. And in radio, we did this thing called queuing up the record, because back then you couldn't just push a button and automatically have the sound start. You had to find where the sound started on the record and then back it up a quarter of a turn.
Correct.
And because
and then you would get cue burn.
Yeah, because you were always sliding that needle across the record. Eventually, that's why you heard on all those songs, and then the song would start, because it would just wreck that.
Yeah, but see, that
groove.
was back in the day when radio stations actually spun records.
Yes,
I worked at one of those.
Did they let you play whatever you wanted?
We had 2 turntables and a microphone.
2 turntables and a microphone, baby.
We had 2 turntables, 2 CD players, and they were brand new CDs at that time.
CDs were brand new.
Brand new, 1986. You're welcome. And
Is that
we
when
had
they came out?
and we had a small cart player that had like 3 cart bays in it.
Yep.
That were only for commercials.
Reel
to reel tape for the phone calls.
Ampex 440s.
Yeah.
Ampex 440 machines. If I could
that's when splicing meant splicing.
Oh man, hold the razor blade in between your lips, and you'd find and you'd find the sound. You'd mark it with a grease pencil, and you'd cut it
at an angle.
Yeah.
Tape it together.
But why? Why'd you have to cut it at an angle?
I don't know, dude.
It doesn't make it, because then if it was stereo, because if it was stereo, you had like in your
the little glitch.
Yeah, you had the right hand side and the left hand side. You just I think that was a horse shit.
It probably was
reason that we just listened to somebody instead of it's just a butt splice. Who doesn't enjoy a good butt splice every now and then? You know what I'm saying?
I do.
But here we are at October 6th already. Time has flown. We are well into now the fourth quarter of the year 2021, and life continues down its dystopian path. And yet each day we find small nuggets here and there that prove, in fact, there is a comedy god somewhere. Did you see the interview with Monica Lewinsky on Jake Tapper's program?
No.
Tapper? Apparently he did.
Somebody did, yeah.
Well, listen to this, you tell me.
Who, in addition to being a producer of a new HBO Max documentary called 50 Minutes of Shame, is also a producer of an FX series called Impeachment,
Monica
American
Lewinsky.
Crime Story, which details the 1998 Clinton scandal. So first of all, Monica, yes, I have to disclose, full disclosure, in tonight's episode, our G-rated date from December 1997.
Uh-huh. Jake
Oh.
Tapper and Monica Lewinsky and he said,
From
notice he said,
1997.
notice he said are G-rated, which means it wasn't. He had to put that in there.
So when was it that she did Clinton? Back in 91?
What? 91? Was it 91?
92?
Was it that far back? What is she, 107?
Maybe not, dude. Well, when
I
was
don't know,
that?
wasn't that mid-90s? I don't know, 94,
95 maybe?
4 or 5, somewhere in through there.
Oh, Jake Tapper was just trying to get him some of that.
He figured, hey, she'll do the press.
She'll put out.
It's just...
God, he's like, man, just add me to the list of gentlemen, would you?
So he apparently dated her. She's an executive producer on these two specials, on one on HBO, American Crime Story, the story of the president's impeachment in 1998, and another one. But when you is this a weird country or it's a weird planet? You are famous because you were humming on the president.
Hummina, 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 hummina.
Just-
That's funny.
I mean, what's your claim to fame? I, invented a cure for polio. I invented the internal combustion engine. What are you famous for? This,
Humming on the president.
humming on the president.
Playing a little tune.
So anyway, apparently she and Tapper were in 97.
Our one date.
Our one date from 1997 is portrayed, I should note, by an actor way better looking than me now or then. Now,
No.
you're a producer on this project,
Yes.
and you show an honest and sometimes unglamorous version of yourself. Why was that important to you?
I felt that I shouldn't get a pass as a producer. I think, first of all, I shouldn't get a pass in general. I think it's important to take responsibility for mistakes, and I've worked hard to work through those. But in particular with the show, there's so many people who've worked hard on this show, and it was important to me that the credibility of the show be there. And I felt that if I was sort of smoothing over and photoshopping essentially my history in that way, that it wasn't right and wouldn't be fair.
Right. You think the Clintons hate her?
I would venture a guess. Yeah.
You think they're not big fans of the? You don't think they have like her? Doesn't she design scarves and stuff now? Clothes.
Yeah, I don't know what she does.
She makes something. She's a designer of some sort because she does not want to be the butt of a joke. Sorry.
Yeah, but she will be
that'd be
for
Matt
the rest
Lauer,
of her
sorry.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. She will.
It's
of course.
unfortunate, but she will be. Yeah.
Well, and honestly, is it her fault? Is it her fault? Was she not? Would you not consider that an abuse of power?
Yes.
What happened to her?
Yes.
She was 20, so she was an adult, but she was taken in. She did some taken in by the president of the United States. She was enamored. She was. She looked up to him, literally, but you could say that she is, I guess, in some cases, the victim of abuse. But it's a very strange. It's a strange thing to be famous for. But then again, there's Paris Hilton. What the hell is she famous for? Mm-hmm. So there are going to be these two stories: the rehashing of Bill Clinton who by comparison these days seems like a choir boy with everything else that's going on in the world and in the White House. I will have to give him credit. At least with Bill Clinton, you had somebody who could put together a sentence. And even with the last Democrat that we had in the White House, with Barack Hussein Obama, another guy who could actually put together a sentence, and not, although he did have some issues when when he kind of wandered off prompter. But one of the biggest problems right now, and this is from 2016. This will show you how long that the plan I'm about to tell you about has been in the works. This was at a town hall, a PBS NewsHour town hall, just prior to Barack Obama leaving office. And he's talking to a group of citizens, one of whom asks the president, why are you and Hillary trying to take away our guns? Why don't you go after the bad guys? Cites Chicago as a prime example of, the bad guys running amok, if you will. And why are you trying to take the guns away from the good guys? And Obama has he has an interesting answer here.
Is precisely what you suggested, which is, why don't we treat this like every other thing that we use? We used to have really bad auto fatality rates. The auto fatality rate has actually dropped precipitously, drastically, since I was a kid. Why is that? We decided we had seatbelt laws. We decided to have manufacturers put airbags in place. We decided to crack down on drunk driving and texting. We decided to redesign roads so that they were less likely to have a car bank. We studied what is causing these fatalities.
Now listen to this.
Using science and data and evidence, and then we
Science.
slowly treated it like the public health problem it was, and it got reduced.
Okay, here it comes.
We are not allowed to do any of that when it comes to guns, because people, if you propose anything, it is suggested that we're trying to wipe away gun rights and impose tyranny and martial law. Do you know that Congress will not allow the Center for Disease Control to study gun violence?
Okay. Interesting he would say that. This is, again, June 2016. Are you aware of the CDC's Division of Violence Prevention's it's a Division of Violence Prevention?
No.
It is
Division of Violence.
the
Prevention,
Centers
DVP.
for Disease Control and Prevent. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has a Division of Violence Prevention. Huh? What? I mean, Now, if you look back then, that's 5 years ago that Obama was talking about this. Obviously, it was top of mind, but obviously Donald Trump interrupted, agenda interrupted, and delayed their plans for a number of years. So violence, they say at the CDC's Division of Violence Prevention, this is their strategic division. Violence is a widespread public health problem that impacts all of us and occurs in many forms like child abuse, neglect, child sexual abuse, youth violence, sexual violence, intimate partner violence, elder abuse, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. For nearly, and this is DVP's critical role, for nearly 40 years, CDC's Division of Violence Prevention has utilized and shared, did you know they've been around for 40 years?
Nope.
I didn't either. Has utilized and shared the best available data and conducted research to identify what works to prevent various forms of violence. The Division of Violence Prevention brings together partners and connects data, science, and action to inform the development, implementation, and sustainability of violence prevention strategies to proven to be effective. Here is their vision. The DVP's vision. Tell me how realistic you think this is. A violence-free society in which all people and communities are safe, healthy, and thriving. A violence-free society. Is that possible? To have a violence-free society? I guess if you don't have any people in it.
With mental health the way it is these days, it doesn't sound like it's possible. I would think it would be, but then again, you what are you going to do with the people who are literally crazy as shit?
Exactly. Well, put them in the we could put them in buildings and insane, call them sanatoriums or something like that, and in sanatoriums.
In sanatoriums.
Sanatoriums.
Yep.
There were sanitariums and sanatoriums.
Or we could just send them to Congress.
I see what you did there. I like that one. Hang on a second. You're welcome. Now, in case that didn't scare you badly enough, because this is where they're going with guns. The guiding principles of the Department of Violence Prevention at the CDC, the foundation for how we approach this work and make decisions is grounded in 4 principles: advancing economic, gender, and racial equity. Those are buzzwords. Those are woke buzzwords.
Yeah.
Enhancing positive relationships and environments, addressing factors that cut across multiple forms of violence. Prioritizing efforts that create societal and community level impact. Interesting. So this is here are their strategic priorities for 2020 to 2024. The division will focus our efforts on 3 strategic priorities over the next 5 years. Number 1, increase the number of people exposed to prevention strategies proven to reduce violence. Number 2, reduce adverse childhood experiences. The experience of violence or other adversity in childhood. Okay. And number 3, anybody? Bueller? Expand understanding of how to prevent firearm-related injuries and deaths. This is how they're going to implement the overriding of the Second Amendment. They're going to do it through the Department of, what the hell is it called? Violence Prevention at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Which, by the way, did you know that their, you know what their slogan is? Never noticed this either. CDC 24/7, saving lives, protecting people. It's kind of catchy. Hey, what do you guys do? We save lives, we protect people. That's what we do over at CDC.
Yeah, but what does the disease prevention and control have to do with violence?
This is why they implemented all this crap with COVID, because this was a public health crisis, and now they figured out how they're going to follow the science and weave their narrative through the science of gun control. So it's no longer going to be just an emotional, you can't have guns because they're scary. It's going to be they're going to use numbers. They're going to try to use pseudoscience is what they're going to do. They will weave their web and somehow come up with a way that shows, or that proves in their eyes at least, that, hey, you know what? Here's the science. It's A plus B equals C. This isn't about emotions. This is about math. This is about facts. This is about when you add 2 and 2, it adds up to 4, and you have 4 guns out the door. That's what they're doing. This is the next step in their overall plan. And this, I think, ties into the quarantine camps.
Oh.
If you haven't heard about the quarantine camps yet, they are a real thing. They're not hiding them anymore. They're out there.
And they're making it appear to be a voluntary thing.
Of course they are. We're not going to make you go to a quarantine. Why would we do that? We're not going to do that. You get to decide.
But you can come here if you're homeless or if you just can't
Yes.
quarantine at home.
Right. I mean, if the circumstances
Come
are.
on in.
This is us helping you.
You'll never see the light of day, but come on in.
Help us help you. That's what this is all about. We'll get into that more as the program here progresses. If you are watching on any of the strategically located broadcast, our video broadcasts, which are still up at this point, we have evaded the FBI and other agencies. But you can see the hashtag FJB shirt, which of course stands for Let's Go Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. You get these right now at mojo50.com by clicking on the shop button and then clicking over to apparel and then making 4 more clicks. And then once you click 4 more times and find the secret tunnel, you will find the shirts. You should maybe put them on the front page. Is that easy to do?
Is it the URL? Is that what I put on the right sleeve, the URL, the website address?
There's something on the right sleeve?
Yeah.
I'll be damned. Mojo50.com right there on the
There you
right
go.
sleeve.
You didn't know that?
No, I had no idea. You can get yours today at mojo50.com. And remember, let's go, Brandon. To join the program here, the hashtag What I Learned Today makes it easier to find us. And was it Pigs? Where'd he go? Big Pharma Steve said, yes, real Brad Staggs, the voiceover for Space Force should sound like Pigs in Space. I was thinking of Space Ghost. Space Ghost. Does anybody remember Space Ghost? You don't remember Space Ghost, do
I
you?
do. No, I remember.
Son of a... let's see here. And we play way too much Madonna on the show? I don't think so. More coming up.
Happily promoting the...
Sure.
Madonna.
There's no such thing as too much Madonna. I remember when she came out, was a Holiday. Yeah, Holiday was her first song. Wasn't it?
I thought it was like a virgin.
No. I think it was her first, I think that was her first song. It was Holiday.
Madonna's first single.
Was it not Holiday?
Madonna's first single.
Was what?
I don't know yet. Looking.
How long does it take you to look something up?
Holiday.
Was it?
Yep, first hit
Date?
single.
What'd I tell
Holiday.
you? 1983.
3. September 7th.
Who's your daddy now?
1983.
Who's your daddy now?
93, 2003. Wow, almost 30 years ago. She has stood the test of time, dude.
Dude.
Her and
four-
Britney Spears.
40 years ago. Not 30.
40.
40.
Oh my God. Almost 4. Oh my
Almost 40.
God. Almost 40 years ago.
Almost 40.
Jeebus.
I know,
Yep.
right?
I've got Sarah.
How come you've always got Sarah? Why? Why
Because
you?
The phone calls come to me.
Why?
They just do.
That's,
Hi, Sarah.
whatever. Sarah.
Hey.
Hey. She always sounds so
Since
depressed.
I said we get her out of
Damn
bed
it.
this morning.
What time is it where you are? Is it 5:30?
No, it's 6:30
6:30.
in Colorado, but I'm actually in Virginia, so it's 8:30.
Oh, okay.
Can
He
I?
travels a lot.
Will I be able to ask you why you're in Virginia?
Yeah, visiting my family.
10 seconds. Here
All
we
right,
go.
hang on.
Stand by.
Hang on.
The Daily Mojo.
All right, slightly venomous Kirk tweeted the angled splice of the tape gave it one more coverage for the tape to stick to. That's not true. It doesn't. It's not going to give you more coverage. The piece of tape is the piece of tape. If it's going to be sticky, I mean, you're going to cover.
It's a longer slice. More more
It's
tape,
more shoreline, maybe.
more shoreline. Yeah,
But-
a longer slice than just.
But
the
what?
straight
Okay,
across.
what
But it helped it roll through the.
made it an
The
easier
deck.
transition when moving around the spinning metal tines?
Yeah.
The tape moved over. Made it easier. Why?
There was a science behind it. We know there was, but that was the '80s. We don't have to deal with it anymore. You're welcome.
And remember, if you screwed something up, you had to like move like 20 seconds down the tape and then record and then cut that piece out and then physically move it. That's why you do a 60-second commercial and it would take sometimes hours.
Oh yeah.
And then I remember the first time we had software and you could just go in there and, cut and paste. It was like, oh, this is like so wonderful. It was wonderful. It really was. The first Madonna hit, 1983.
1983.
That would be almost 40 years ago. The beauty of it is that if you think about it, look how far we've come, Ron.
This was high school for me.
What?
High school.
As I was in my first job in radio,
Yeah, you were.
second job, something like that.
I wouldn't be in radio for another 3 years.
Which is,
Yeah.
that's why you're sitting where you're sitting, and I'm sitting where I'm sitting. Sarah Anderson joins us now from R Street, the R Street Group. Where were you in 1983, Sarah?
I didn't exist back then.
Isn't that weird to think
The
about
world
that?
was the worst place.
It didn't. I mean, think about that. Because I've recently I was
That is odd to hear, man.
It is. It's very strange. But I was watching Midnight Mass on Netflix, and they were talking about the scene was about death. Strangely enough, I know, but it was about where were you? Where are you after you die? Where were you before you were born? That sort of thing. And I was thinking about when President Kennedy was assassinated, I didn't exist, but I still feel like I know a lot about it, even though I wasn't there. I mean, do you remember?
Right.
What do you know about the 80s?
I mean, not all that much compared to if I was living then, I guess. Reagan was president.
Yeah,
He was,
it was a
yeah.
good time,
Yeah.
Sarah. You missed out. We had some
Yeah,
seriously good
there
times,
was some good music.
like Madonna.
Music going on. Yeah, like Madonna. Reagan was president, and then they started throwing everyone in prison.
Well, there's that. I mean, not every decade can be just all sunshine and lollipops. There's, which is why it's a good thing you are on the team over there at R Street. All right, so you are currently you're on a top secret mission in on the East Coast. We won't mention it because we know that you are often doing top secret missions. But what's the latest? What have you moved on to now that that last major piece of, or at least the wheels are moving in the right direction to get the inequity in the Coke versus crack, we'll just call it the Coke versus crack legislation. Now that those wheels are moving, what are you moving on? What are you moving on to next?
Yeah. There was one topic that I think you guys would probably find interesting that we've been working on, which is the issue of home confinement and what to do with all of these people who, under special terms of release under the CARES Act, which, if you all remember, is the $11 bajillion stimulus, quote unquote, package that was passed last year.
11 bajillion.
A lot of people were released from federal prisons to serve the rest of their sentence for the time being on home confinement if they've met a certain number of terms and conditions of the sentence they were serving. So a lot of it was pulled from the First Step Act. They pulled the list of exemptions, so you couldn't have any type of violent offense, et cetera, et cetera. You had to have served a certain percentage of your sentence, had no infractions while you were incarcerated, blah, 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 for the purpose of, mitigating the spread of COVID in prisons, which are obviously People are kind of on top of each other, difficult to prevent the
Whoa.
spread of COVID while you're incarcerated. And these people, there were almost 30,000 prisoners who were moved from incarceration in BOP facilities to community supervision, specifically home confinement, last year.
Right.
Only 151 of them, I believe, violated the terms of their home detention at all, and only one of them, committed an actual new crime. So the rest were some sort of technical violation that doesn't involve a new offense.
Okay.
The issue here is that once the pandemic and the emergency declaration and the terms of the CARES Act end, these people, absent action from Congress or from President Biden, are going to go back into prison to serve out the rest of their sentence, which doesn't make a lot of sense if these people aren't any type of threat to public safety. But surprise, surprise, President Biden has not acted at all. So there's a whole movement on Twitter. If you hashtag keep them home, it's all of the stories of people who have, gotten their parents back, or their brother, or their relative, or their spouse, or their really just neighbors and friends who are now back in their communities on home detention for sure. But, if they're not causing any problems, it's pretty abhorrent to think that these people, and especially even just from a fiscal standpoint, if these people aren't a threat to public safety, they're cooperating with their home detention, why would you put them back inside of prisons? So that's a huge issue. It showed community supervision and home confinement can work very well. But of course, the Biden administration hasn't taken action. We don't expect Congress to, because Congress is not good at that at all. But Biden has clemency power, and this is an instance where he should use it.
Interesting. So, all right. So the hashtag keep them home, it's out there in a pretty big way. What do you say to people though who would suggest, look, these are people who broke the law. These they were sentenced to X amount of years in prison, and they should be. What makes them so special? Why can't they just be sent back? With the rest of the people who are in prison doing their time.
Right. Well, it's not that they're not serving out the rest of their sentence in any capacity. It's, how are we going to administer justice while also keeping the public safe? And they are serving time for the crime that was committed, but we're just doing it in a much more, fiscally responsible way that keeps the public safe at the same time. It's about $13,000 a year to keep someone and monitor them on home confinement, versus an average of $35,000, almost triple, to incarcerate someone in a prison. So if there's a way to, administer justice and have people serving sentences that's, a third of the cost to taxpayers, I think that just makes a lot of sense.
It does, and as with most things, money is at the heart. So if they were to be sent back, this would mean cash in somebody's bank account, whether it's the Bureau of Prisons or whoever's running the prison. It means money to somebody somewhere. That's why they don't necessarily support these people not headed back to prison.
Right. Well, it's funny you bring up who's going to pay for it. I guess they'll just print that $1 trillion coin at the U.S. that we saw.
OMG. Was that not amazing?
I thought it was the Onion at first. I swear.
That was freakish. It's the Treasury. Let me see if I can find that real quick for those of you who are unfamiliar with this. The Fed or the Treasury, I guess, said that, and I'm not really sure. All I saw, quite frankly, did you find it?
It's a report from Axios. A $1 trillion platinum coin could be minted at the last minute to avert breaching the debt ceiling. The former director of the U.S. Mint tells Axios.
Who's putting that in their pocket?
It's
Holy
like,
crap.
Wait, hold on. All we have to do is mint $1 trillion platinum coin.
It's a good looking coin. I'm looking at it on Wikipedia.
It's a very nice coin. It's platinum. It should be
damn
very
well better
nice.
be. Yeah.
Right. This thing better make biscuits. Can you imagine finding that in the street? It's just like, hey, look what I found. That's truly, and somebody made the comment on that particular tweet. If this isn't proof that all this crap is just make believe, what is? But that's a great point. So, all right. So back to the matter at hand. These folks who were released from prison because of COVID, and again, see, this all feeds into my. This got to be a rule of life. Government does nothing well. As a matter of fact, government is at the root of most problems in this country. I would say that's a fair statement, that the federal government and even state governments are at the heart of most problems in this country. And with this particular instance, you have COVID, which was, whether or not it was released intentionally or accidentally from a lab, it was a government-funded lab. They screwed up, so you got government employees somehow screwing up, releasing this accidentally or on purpose. Then you have the shutdown. Then you have the spread of COVID. So it's all the government's fault to begin with. But so then they have to release these people from prison so that they're not on top of each other, literally in prison, and spreading the disease. And now, just to kind of thin out the population and keep the COVID instances down, they let them out. How many did you say were let out?
28,000, so almost 30,000.
All right, and these were mostly, were they nonviolent? They're
all nonviolent. I believe required with the same list of exemptions that were put in the First Step Act for people who would be eligible for those earned credits as well. So there's a whole host of exemptions, but yeah, nonviolent offenses.
All right. So what? So at this point, what's the status? These people are supposed to report back. What's the deal at this point in time?
So also, I mean, the other thing to note is people with very little time remaining in their sentence anyway. I believe it's the shorter of 10% of their sentence left, or 6 months. So they're basically finished serving their sentence anyway.
Right.
But the Bureau of Prisons itself, under the CARES Act, would have the authority to keep these people home, but the Bureau of Prisons always errs on the side of more incarceration rather than less, which makes sense for their interests.
I was going to say, because they're in the prison business.
They are in the prison business. This is true, which is why there's actually a caucus that just got formed in the House, led by Fred Keller from Pennsylvania, a BOP oversight caucus. So that's a very good idea.
It's a good idea, but do we need another caucus?
Bureaucracy.
How many cockeye do we have up there?
Cockeye.
Well,
That's the plural of
that's
caucus.
the plural of caucus, is it not?
Caucuses. I think it's caucuses.
I don't know. It sounds like cockeye.
But yeah, so BOP could, issue a memoranda to keep these people home, but they're not going to do that. Congress is very slow to act. They can't do anything about this debt ceiling, it seems. So, don't expect them to be paying attention to 30,000 people who are on home detention. So it would be Biden who would need to use his clemency power to, commute the remainder of these people's sentences, again, a short period of time, the lesser of 10% or 6 months of their sentence remaining.
Right.
So that's what everyone's hoping for. But Joe Biden's got other things he's worried about, I guess.
Yeah, he's up in, where was he? Michigan, Idaho, somewhere, talking to unions and trying to string words together that actually made sense. He got it right about a quarter of the time. All right, so and again, like with your previous organization with FreedomWorks, people could go and they could they be part of the organization. With our street, how does the average Joe or Josie on the street, how do they get involved with our street and support what you're doing?
I mean, to keep up to date with what we're working on, definitely follow R Street on Twitter. It's run by one of my friends and colleagues at R Street, who is has quite the sense of humor. She's good on Twitter. So our Twitter is at RSI. So you'll see R Street Institute. We're on Facebook as well, R Street Institute, and then rstreet.org. You can get involved, by following everything that we're working on, engaging with our content, and then, of course, donating if your heart desires to our 501c3 organization dedicated to educating people on free markets and real solutions.
Cool. All right. Just actually followed you there. You ought to get one of them there Linktree thingies. I did that recently. I'm kind of hip. I mean, I'm known for being, kind of hip and on the cutting edge. Linktree. What did she just say? What's a Linktree, Ron?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
what?
It's just it's like a place for
You're not
to go,
explaining it for shit, Ron.
To go one place to get all of the links to all of your social media.
He doesn't know what the hell it is. Linktree is it's a central hub, so you can put all of your social media. You can put links to just about anything you want, and so you just send them to the R Street Linktree, and then they have all the cool links right there in one place. So that's
a pretty good idea.
Yeah, well, every now and then a blind squirrel finds an acorn. So, and who is Cooper Barkham?
Am I supposed to have the answer to that?
I don't know. It's just that. Well, it says on the R Street team, our policy team. It has you and Daria, who's a program manager, and you have Cooper Barkham is the director of canine policy.
Oh, yeah, we send out it's like a monthly, oh gosh, I can't remember what they call it, but they feature somebody's dog every month in a newsletter.
Gotcha.
So,
okay,
I'll have to forward you one of those.
All right, please do.
Like, what are you talking
Cooper
about?
Barkham.
Cooper Barkham. All right, there you go. All right, Sarah, you enjoy the rest of your day. Sarah Anderson is, again, the program manager of criminal justice and civil liberties at rstreet.org. Do you remember playing Pac-Man, Sarah?
Definitely.
Do you remember the song about playing Pac-Man?
Is it this one?
Yes.
Pac-Man fever, baby.
I don't have a lot of money, but I'm bringing everything I made. I got a callus on my finger and my shoulder's hurting too. I'm gonna eat them all up just as soon as the time blue. 'Cause I got Pac-Man fever. It's driving me crazy. I got Pac-Man fever. I'm going out of my mind. I got Pac-Man fever. I'm going out of my mind.
Right? Who doesn't love that song, right?
Exactly.
The Daily Mojo.
I almost forgotten about that one. Pac-Man Fever. Which, of course, reminds me of the Chicago Bears. And didn't they have, they had a song, too. Chicago Shuffle, the Bears Shuffle. Yeah. The hell was that? Whatever it was. See what the Twitterverse is saying here. Anything worth repeating? God, Guitars, and Guns remembers Space Ghost. And not the lame Adult Swim reimagining of the character. See, that's where I remember is from Adult Swim, from Cartoon Network.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I do remember that. Let's see. How much of the Today's Show? Why didn't Squatching Duchess say, "Hey, mute me"?
He'd use a lot less.
It would. I mean, he'd have
verbiage.
a lot fewer words and
mute me.
Just mute me. Just mute me. Let's see here. And for those of you new to the program, all four of you, there is an extended family. And, much like a regular family out in IRL, our family is, it's comprised.
We don't always get along. That's
No,
right.
we don't always get along. And there's always an asshat in the bunch in the family.
But we love them still, Brad.
Okay.
We do love them.
All right. You say so.
We love all ass hats.
B from the SAV. Everything is a challenge. The Grand Jackhole Real Brad Staggs is just reminding people. Damn straight. Some Kool-Aid with a C tweeted a picture of a license plate, and the license plate is, I think, is it Washington? I can't see what state. Doesn't matter what state it is. Here's the letters on the license plate. So imagine this: S-O-M, as in Mary, S-O-M, and then W-H-R.
Some whore? What is this supposed to be?
I think somewhere,
Oh, some whore.
because it looks like
Somewhere.
It looks
Oh,
like
yeah.
some whore. Which has absolutely nothing to do with our next sponsor, MyPillow. MyPillow.com. If you go there, if you would like to, and I was moving my slippers from one room to another here at the motel because I've
Did
made
they
a
upgrade your room?
well, they did, and they're getting ready to do some renovations in this particular room, so get ready for that. But and I just as I turn the
You're not going to
slippers
have
over,
plastic tarps hanging everywhere, are you?
possibly.
Oh, snap.
You know, it's funny because at the house in Nashville, when I was working on the roof, I had at one point I had a tarp
On the roof, right?
on the roof.
I did too after the fire. They tarped off my roof.
Did it ever rain and then the rain was
Just made a pool.
big
In
pool?
the tarp.
and then so one day I
Through
go,
the hole in the roof. Yes.
I go out there with a broom to try to push it, push the bubble and try to get it, the water to go outside. And apparently the tarp had just enough of a rip in it or just was weak in this one spot. As I pushed the broom up, it just broke free. And I'll bet 40 gallons of water. And this was in winter, just right in on me.
Yep.
Oh, that'll wake you up and give you a heart attack. I didn't have my slippers then. I didn't have anything from MyPillow to make me feel better. I was a lonely soul back in those days, but now I can put on my slippers from MyPillow.com and I can feel, I feel warm. I feel comforted. I feel whole. Feel like a complete person. Just want to lay there and chill, do nothing. You can get, I think I talked about the frankspeech.com website, yard signs.
Yes, you did. Yeah, you can get them.
Okay. Anyway, go to mypillow.com. Use the promo code Mojo50. You can get the pillows. You can get the slippers. You can get the bathrobes, which Ron and he's all cuddly and lovable when he's wearing his. And whoa, there's even a coil mattress sleep system. Get out. I should go to this website more often. Wow, check that out. There's a whole quilted
bucket.
mattress. Son of a wow, that's pretty cool. So you just have to go to mypillow.com to see it. Use promo code Mojo50 and you can save some money on your favorite stuff. So that's all I had to say about that. Now, and we'll get back into the gun stuff here. The tie-in between between what the federal government is doing with the prisons and the people in prison, et cetera. And again, I'm firm believer the federal government does nothing well, nothing whatsoever. But now, if you look out there, they're not even hiding these, as Ron said, they're not hiding these COVID quarantine camps, these concentration camps anymore. They're not. They're right there in front of God and everybody. And this so much looked like
It's all in how they're presented. That's the problem.
Yeah. It looked like such a conspiracy theory to me when the whole thing starts. It's like, surely they're not. I mean, come on. And this is this is from covidcalltohumanity.org. Never heard of the website. And generally, if you put in COVID quarantine camps, that's what you'll find is alternative media. And you won't find much about it on mainstream websites. So the headline here, Washington State concentration camps will be open for business soon. That was in September 30th. It was an article published in Natural News. They said Ethan Huff reports that a COVID-19 isolation and quarantine facility has been instituted by Governor Jay Inslee of Washington State. Natural News has been warning about this kind of installation in the U.S. for months, but was tagged as conspiracy theory. Now these camps no longer conspiracy. They're being erected in Washington. Amazingly enough, right there at the kingcounty.gov website, isolation/quarantine facilities. Department of Community and Health, Department of Community and Human Services. And then the subhead is needs support to isolate or quarantine? Need some help? Hey, little buddy, do you need some help?
Hey, buddy, can't get away at home?
Yeah, hey, we can help. To slow the spread of COVID-19, King County is acting swiftly to respond to the outbreak in unprecedented time of emergency. One of the key public health interventions we are deploying is the siting, S-I-T-I-N-G, of isolation/quarantine assessment and recovery and shelter de-intensification facilities across the county. These facilities slow the spread of COVID-19 and minimize the strain on our local healthcare facilities to ensure the safety of the public at large. Today, 2 isolation/quarantine centers are currently open for guests. Isolation used for people who are currently ill and able to spread the disease, and who need to stay away from others in order to avoid infecting them. Quarantine is for people who are not currently showing symptoms but are at increased risk for having been exposed to an infectious disease. Interesting, they didn't specify COVID, they just said, you're at increased risk for having been exposed to an infectious disease. The camps, they say, provide supervised care to symptomatic or COVID-positive adults who cannot safely quarantine or recover in their own home or do not have a home. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I don't see anything sinister about this. Do you, Ron? I mean, this is all voluntary. It's all voluntary.
It is until it's not, until they don't let you go home.
I mean, there's no way it would ever turn out like
To
Australia.
everyone in home quarantine in Victoria to take part of our pilot program. And what that means is that they will receive random phone calls and they have to answer within 5 minutes with a selfie sent to this app, which will then geo-track where that person is and to make sure that they are who they say they are as well. If they don't answer within that 5-minute period, that's when health officers come knocking, Pete.
I mean, it would never get to that level, would it? I can't imagine that something like that. That's all the way down where, down under, where the blood all rushes to the head. That's why they're doing
There
that
you
crazy
go.
shit down there.
Yeah.
That would never happen in the United States of America, would it? I don't think so.
All clear.
Wow. Wow. Is that not?
With Republicans dead set against playing any role in hiking the government's debt ceiling, Democrats are talking about changing Senate filibuster rules so they can move ahead with suspending the borrowing limit, avoiding a government default. President Biden told reporters Tuesday evening, I think that's a real possibility. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, well,
I think that's a real possibility.
I think that's a real possibility. I do. I love that. Hey, just get out of the way. Just get out of the way.
They have the time to do it, and the sooner they get about it, the better.
Doing away with the filibuster rule would lower the threshold for passage from 60 votes to 50. Mike Gracia, Washington.
President Biden hits the
Years.
road promoting his
Now we stand and ready to build back better. With that, I welcome the president who is paving the way, President Joe Biden.
Get your mask.
I might need that.
Hello, Michigan.
Hello, Michigan.
Here's your mask. Here's your mask.
Here's your mask. Don't forget your prop.
skyrocketed 30% between 2019 and last year. protests of parents at school board meetings to domestic terrorism. And Attorney General Merrick Garland talking about having FBI agents investigate parents who speak out against the teaching of critical race theory, mask mandates to young children.
Look at those little bastards.
Down 351 points. NASDAQ futures 191 points in the red.
I just sent them to you, Ron.
What? What'd you send me?
You just look at them.
Supply chain disruptions, shortages, panic buying. Unfortunately, they've all become facts of life in 2020. You have preparewithmojo50.com. Not only will you find emergency food supplies, also water filtration, air filtration, all sorts of other tools. Preparewithmojo50.com.
Have died from the AIDS virus, and not only they're dying, their family members are dying.
What?
They're becoming infected with the disease. This company knew absolutely that they had a problem with the product. They knew that it was infected with AIDS. They dumped it because they wanted to turn this disaster into a profit.
You say you have internal documents that show that they knew that this drug they were dumping was tainted with the AIDS drug?
Or
the AIDS virus?
The documents show that there was no question that this company absolutely understood the risk, that they knew that it was contaminated.
What?
Like the vaccine is spreading COVID, but I'm sure that's just a coincidence. Regarding vaccine mandates, if the CDC admits the vaccine doesn't stop you from catching COVID, doesn't stop you from spreading the Wuhan flu, what moral, ethical, or legal ground is there for a mandate if I am the only one protected by the vaccine?
Yeah, I saw the meme that says,
While
if the vaccine doesn't stop it and allows me to spread it, how come I'm not losing my job?
Season, people are gathering by the thousands.
Hold on, hang on to that thought.
Dr. Fauci, we the people are no longer afraid. We have moved on. It's time for you to move on too. Until tomorrow, protect your liberties. Once they're gone, there's no
radio puking in.
If we weren't so bad,
puppy rape. I like to cuss. Do I want to keep my penis?
Cat wants some black titties. We wouldn't be so good. Mojo 50. Mothership has landed.
All right, I'm not going to say that we have fallen into some sort of a weird sinkhole in the earth, but I am going to say that it's possible.
Speaking of which, I watched an episode of a show that
La Brea.
La Brea.
Yeah, I watched that too. It was.
Did you watch the first episode?
Yeah.
I watched about 3/4 of it, and then I went, "This is the dumbest ass show I've ever seen in my life."
Well, what's it?
Can't believe I paid $2.99 for this episode.
You paid for it?
Yeah.
It's on Hulu.
Oh, it was over on Apple TV. Is the only place I ever saw it.
Oh, it was on Hulu for free.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Dummy.
Yeah.
What are you paying for that for? That's what this three-eyed dinosaur shrimp reminded me of.
It's wicked looking.
So apparently hundreds of these three-eyed dinosaur shrimp popped up in Arizona after they had a monsoon because I guess their eggs can stay dormant for decades waiting for water, kind of like seahorses. You know, when you get seahorses in the mail, remember you could order them in the back of a comic book and you got them in this package and you dump them in water and all of a sudden they're little horses and you had a pony. Hey, I got a pony.
And then you put them in this little plastic container with the little magnifying glasses.
Right.
And you could see them.
You could see
Dude,
them.
as a kid, man,
Oh, yeah,
I
it was
was
great.
all about the seahorses.
The seahorses. Weren't they shrimp?
Brine shrimp.
But that's what these are. These are freakish looking little bastards.
They look like what you would like a fossil.
You are a small three-eyed crustacean.
Crustacean. Yes.
It's this was in the Wapatki National Monument in Arizona. It was I guess a lot of rain down in northern Arizona, and hundreds of these little bad boys began swimming around in a temporary lake on the desert. It's a sizable. I mean, it looks like it's about an inch long, doesn't it?
If not more, yeah.
Depends on who's measuring it, men or women. They're tadpole-sized creatures, it says. The triops look like mini horseshoe crabs with 3 eyes. And their eggs lay dormant for decades until enough rain falls, blah, blah, blah. And what they don't tell you is that if you get them wet after midnight, they multiply in size by a factor of 1,000.
How long can these eggs lie dormant?
I don't know. I'd say decades.
Well, no, I get that, but I mean centuries.
Just because it says the eggs can lay dormant for decades.
I got that. Yeah.
Again, they don't tell you about the part where they can.
Wow.
They can grow to 1,000 times their size.
Yeah.
And eventually.
Oh, you're right, Russ. They weren't called seahorses. They were called sea monkeys.
Sea
the little
monkeys.
brine. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. They were monkeys. Monkeys,
Yeah,
horses,
sea monkeys.
whatever.
Thank you, Russ.
Same
Yeah,
thing.
appreciate that.
Monkey,
Everybody's
horse.
Screaming. Everybody's screaming at us right now going, no!
Weren't they sea? Oh, I guess they'll
They were sea monkeys, yeah.
Seahorses, those are little freaks.
Yeah,
that,
because they had the, remember the pictures of the human-looking things with the, that's what they were. Sea monkeys.
The
Yeah.
human-looking thing.
Yeah. Ugh.
As I was saying, thing about seahorses, those are the things that spew their eggs all out, and
Yeah, I'm going to look for a sea.
the males carry the, just yeesh, yeah. But these freaky little 3-eyed dinosaur shrimp, I don't know if you could eat them with cocktail sauce or not. Meanwhile,
they look a little crunchy.
They do. Which in a related story, there is also a parasite that was just discovered off the coast of Japan. It is called. It's a crustacean. It's an isopod. It is some sort of a crustacean, but it looks exactly like sushi. Looks like a piece of salmon sushi.
Oh.
Which is kind of freaky. But these things move along the bottom of the ocean and eat dead stuff. And now they found one. They didn't know it existed. They found one. They put it in the aquarium Fukushima. That's, of course, isn't that by where the nuclear meltdown was? So this son of a bitch is going to grow to be like 1,000 feet and eat you too. This is going to be the sushi that eats you.
Yeah.
Telling you this, would that surprise you? Would it surprise you now if they discovered that the Fukushima nuclear accident had caused, the carp to be 1,000 feet long? Their carp are coming after you, and they are pissed. I don't know exactly why I just found this, but James in Louisiana retweeted this a couple of days ago. I don't know if I remember this story or not, but this is the story of Bayer, people that make the aspirin, knowingly
B-A-Y-E-R.
B-A-Y-E-R.
R-A-R. Yeah.
E-R. B-A-Y-E-R.
Okay.
Knowingly releasing product. Now, I'll just play this, and then you tell me if this is a bogus story.
They took the product off the market in the U.S. and then they dumped it in France, Europe, Asia, and Latin America. The U.S. government allowed it to happen. The FDA allowed this to happen. And now the government is completely looking the other way. Thousands of innocent hemophiliacs have died from the AIDS virus. And not only they're dying, their family members are dying because they're becoming infected with the disease. This company knew absolutely that they had a problem with the product. They knew that it was infected with AIDS. They dumped it because they wanted to turn this disaster into a profit.
Do you remember this story?
I do not.
I don't either. However, it's a real thing. So this was Bayer had a product that was infected or contaminated with HIV. And this was Bayer's inventory of HIV-contaminated blood products in third world hemophiliacs. And this particular story that I've located is on the National Institute of Health website. So who knows? The article presents an overlooked case of research misconduct and violations of basic principles of medical and business ethics when Bayer's Cutter Laboratories realized that their blood products
Bayer factor 8
and 9 or anti-hemophiliac factor, which was AHF, were contaminated with HIV.
Wow.
They decided that the financial investment in the product was considered too high to destroy the inventory. So they released it in third world countries. Qatar misrepresented the results of its own research and sold the contaminated AHF to overseas markets in Asia and Latin America without the precaution of heat treating the product recommended for eliminating the risk. As a consequence,
22 countries they sold it to.
hemophiliacs who infused the HIV contaminated factor 8 and 9 tested positive for HIV and developed AIDS. So, a pharmaceutical company, knowing that they had an issue with one of their products, F it. We'll send it over there. Who's going to know the difference? I mean, that sounds like that doesn't even sound like it could possibly be a real story, does it? Shut up and get vaccinated. Shut up. How dare you try to link any of this stuff to that? That was then, this is now. They're different. They're not the same company. Can't even believe you bring them up in the same breath. You're nothing but an anti-vaxxer. That's all you are. Shut up. Shut up and get vaccinated. Or in the words of Ted Nugent, bah, 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 bah. Yeah, I really don't.
I'm
care.
reading this and I'm just dumbfounded that they would.
Weird, right?
Shipped and sold drugs containing HIV virus to 22 countries in Latin America, Europe, and Asia, even though they knew the drugs were contaminated with it. That's
what year was that?
nuts.
Was it
1980? It just says in the 80s.
Okay. So about the same time.
The FDA knew about this and helped Bayer cover up. Although officials in France and Japan have been jailed over this, so far no one in Bayer in the U.S. has been charged for their crime.
You are not suggesting that an agency within the United States federal government would have been complicit in something like this. Are you, Ron Phillips? I cannot believe that you would make such an accusation and cast aspersions on the character of our government and its agencies. I mean, it's not like they're going to, be in bed with agent. Look, they've come a long way. The FDA, all of those, the CDC, FDA, all the FBI, the CIA, the ABC, all of them, they've come a long way in those, almost 40 years, and they're not the same. They don't do that. They're not going to do that to you. Seriously, if you want to get vaccinated, get vaccinated. I support your right to take the vaccine, 100%. And how can you not at least look at that and go, do I trust this set of individuals to not F me over? I don't know. To the right. I just have one question, Ron. Where does it go from here? Right? Is it down to the lake I feel? And I said, yeah. Oh, yeah. For an extra 100 points, Ron, name the group.
I have no idea, dude.
You never heard this song?
No.
You call yourself a child of the 80s.
Oh, it's an 80s song, there's no doubt. Just listening to it.
So what do you mean there's no doubt?
Listen to the type of music it is. But
Good?
I don't
As
think
in
I've ever
good
heard
music?
Whatever.
Haircut 100. Love Plus One.
Never heard of it.
That was one of the songs that we played in broadcast school.
Really?
Yeah. It was one of the one of the 45s that we had right there on the on our playlist. Now we at that time did not have the interweb, so we couldn't. I mean, we did at broadcast school sit around a lot and just dream of a day when we could get on this machine, this magic box, and be able to order things that were made by a frickin' laser. things that we could, hang on the wall, things that we could drink out of, things that we could give as gifts. And we knew that someday, somewhere, somehow, in this great country of ours, that someone would come up with a way for us, being these little, youthful broadcast newbies,
with a freaking
laser beam, that someday we would have a business that we could go to through our magic box and get laser created gems, laser created masterpieces, dare I say, that we could give as gifts to ourselves or to others, that we could, classics like Would Poop Here Again. Things like, just things that made life better.
There is such a company, RomikaDesigns.com. Yes.
I knew my dream would come true one day if I just was patient.
We are finding that there are a lot of people out there who want some of our stuff made smaller so they can have Christmas ornaments out of it.
I hear that a
So
lot.
I am in the process now of shrinking down some of our signs,
Throw it in the
like
pool.
our
Just throw it in the
flag
pool.
and military signs and the wood poop ears and stuff like that.
Wood
Make
poop
it
here.
small versions to hang on Christmas trees. You're welcome.
Can you make that thing smaller? Dear Lord, that thing is huge.
What's that?
Whatever
it is you're talking about.
I didn't think you'd ever heard that before.
But we also do wooden jewelry. So those that don't know that, if you have an idea for, some jewelry that you'd like, maybe earrings for your football player at home.
You want to hang some serious wood on
Not
your ear?
earrings to give your football player at home, but earrings of your football player's number.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Can you make a pearl necklace?
Pearl necklace. Yeah, I've been known. Yeah. You're welcome. I don't know why we throw that in the middle of a freaking Romika Designs commercial, but okay.
Because that's what we do.
Okay.
It's wood football spirit earrings.
Yeah.
How big are those bad boys?
1.5 inches.
Wow. So that is.
They're not, dude. I've seen earrings that are 3 inches big. People will wear them. When the wind blows, it just flaps their head back and forth. But these earrings are pretty cool.
Ow, my earrings. So those are, that's pretty impressive to say that a laser beam cut these little, if you are listening right now to the podcast, go to Romika Designs, ROMIKADESIGNS.com, RomikaDesigns.com. And the earrings are on the front page.
Yeah.
So those are 1.5 inches, and man, that is
even that little hole in the top, the laser cut. Yeah.
Wow. That's
pretty cool,
really
that.
amazing that your laser can do that.
Yep. It can get down to as small as 0.01 millimeters.
Wow.
So yeah,
it's the smallest something I can think of.
Yep. But we've got a bunch of different things that we can do. We added a little thing right on the front page now that says we are a custom shop. So if you have an idea that you want us to look at and create, as a matter of fact, I've got 4 ideas that I'm working on now. We got emails on stuff that's not even on the website that somebody would email us and go, hey, can you do this? Give us the opportunity to explore it. So, yeah.
That is really cool. So RomikaDesigns.com. And if you are so inclined, you can even become an affiliate of RomikaDesigns.com.
Correct. Sure can.
It's pretty damned amazing. This is a beautiful, beautiful country. Thanks to the technology that we now know is the interweb, you can do these things. Let's, at this point, go back in time to 1964 and Arthur C. Clarke as he predicts the interweb.
But what about the city of the day after tomorrow, say the year 2000? I think it will be completely different. In fact, it may not even exist at all. Oh, I'm not thinking of the atom bomb and the next Stone Age. I'm thinking of the incredible breakthrough which has been made possible by developments in communications, particularly the transistor and, above all, the communications satellite. These things will make possible a world in which we can be in instant contact with each other, wherever we may be, where we can contact our friends anywhere on Earth, even if we don't know their actual physical location. It will be possible in that age, perhaps only 50 years from now, for a man to conduct his business from Tahiti or Bali just as well as he could from London. In fact, if it proves worthwhile, almost any executive skill, any administrative skill, even any physical skill, could be made independent of distance. I am perfectly serious when I suggest that one day we may have brain surgeons in Edinburgh operating on patients in New Zealand. When that time comes, the whole world will have shrunk to a point, and the traditional role of the city as a meeting place for man would have ceased to make any sense. In fact, men will no longer commute, they will communicate. They won't have to travel for business anymore, they'll only travel for pleasure. I only hope that when that day comes, and when the city is abolished, the whole world isn't turned into one giant suburb.
Well, he got half of it right. Again, that's Arthur C. Clarke from 1964 talking about basically he predicted the invention of the interweb from 64, 74, 84, 94, 2004, 2014. Almost 70 years ago. Excuse me, 60. Why do I get the decade so? It's so hard to count by tens anymore. Why do they make it so damn hard? Seriously. And like he said, you're only going to travel for pleasure. What he did not predict in there was, of course, the government screwing it all up. Now you can't even travel for pleasure anymore. That's the really sad part of the whole thing. This was the president, speaking of sad, the president of these United States headed to, he was meeting with the unions in Michigan. And, let's see how far he can get into his speech without Finorking it. It's always a fun little exercise just to see how far will Biden go.
It's good to be back. It really is.
Really is.
And John, thank you for that introduction.
Yeah.
Truth of the matter is, there's a reason why the American labor movement across the board has the single best workers in the world, because you're the best trained.
Yeah.
I wish the American people understood how much serious training goes into being a union worker.
Did he just call us stupid? I think he did.
Okay.
I think he did. He just said, I wish the American people could realize, okay, we know. We get it. It's not, okay, good. See, if you're in a union, you get training. All right. It's not true with all unions, of course. But okay. Yeah, well, I get what you're saying. I'm not that dumb.
I really mean it.
He really
You're
means
the
it.
best in the world.
Yes.
I was kidding. Someone said to me earlier.
Here's the joke. All right, you ready? You ready for the big joke? Because this is presidential humor.
That I said I'm a union president. I'm a president who supports unions, not labor unions. And someone pointed out to me that I allegedly have used the word union as president more than the last 7 presidents combined. You built the country. No, not a joke.
Not a joke. Wait a minute. Didn't he just say it was a joke? Didn't he just? Didn't he
struggle following this guy. I really
didn't
do.
he just say it was a joke and then he said it's not a joke? Maybe I misunderstood that.
A union worker. I really mean it. You're the best in the world.
All right, here we go.
I was kidding. Someone said to me earlier
Kidding.
that I said I'm a union president. I'm a president who supports unions, not labor unions. And someone pointed out to me that I allegedly.
Hold on. I'm a president who supports unions, not labor unions. I'm desperately. It's like he's trying to communicate. I can feel it.
Have you used the word union as president more than the last 7 presidents combined? You built the country. No, not
you
a
didn't
joke.
build that. You didn't.
You built the country. And it's great to be here with several excellent members of Congress.
Wait a minute. That's several excellent members of Congress? Do those even exist? Good time to remind you to get your hashtag FJB shirt right now at mojo50.com. Click on shop and then just navigate your way through about 7 different steps, and you will come upon the shirt that says hashtag FJB, which of course means Let's Go Brandon. And once you do that, you'll find the shirt, and you can order your very own. And the beauty of it is, when you're out in public, and it's people ask you what all you have to, hey, let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
Yep.
Bells don't work so well for that. So he's up there. This is what the president is busy doing when he's up there talking to the folks in Michigan. Now he is. He's up there. He's touting the railroad stuff. He's up there talking about how the importance of Amtrak and blah 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 and yada yada and it's the first of all, when you look back at Amtrak, aside from the obvious, but the original design for Amtrak in 1970, it was a 1970 law that created Amtrak, says it's supposed to operate like a for-profit company. All right, that's what it said. This, by the way, is a post from 2019 on the Rail Passengers Association website. So this the law that created it, supposed to operate like a for-profit company. Yes, it did say that, according to this piece here. But at the same time, folks who wrote that measure acknowledged it was more aspirational than anything else. And in 1978, lawmakers recognized their error and they changed the law. Weird, right? That the government would come out, create this beast, and then, hey, it's going to operate like a for-profit company. And then, a couple of years later, 8 to be specific, they go, hey, just kidding about that big money pit hole. And the story gets a little weirder. I'll talk about that here in just a second. And I think Brandon, speaking of Let's Go Brandon, should be along in a second on your Daily Mojo here.
A free exchange of ideas. Mojo.
Is this not just...
He was not on the schedule today, by the way.
Oh, what, wasn't he?
So I don't know if he's coming in or not.
Well, then it was my fecal touch today, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Sarah was on the schedule, but he wasn't, so I don't know if it was just left
Oh,
off.
bite me, Ron. How about you just bite me?
I'll let you know if he
How about
shows
you
up.
bite me?
How's that?
How about you bite me? Nibble.
Nibble.
More of a nibble than a bite?
Mm-hmm.
You'll find that clause, blah, blah, the wording.
Being considered to replace these terrible weapons are more ecologically friendly weapons, such as cat coolers, to be used like anvils in a Wile E. Coyote cartoon.
Recently declassified audio from deep inside Cheyenne Mountain.
Jimmyville, come quick. The Chinese have taken over the island beachhead. What should we do?
Release the cat coolers!
The first cat cooler dropped activated a volcano on it.
Oh, I got him.
The cooler still has ice in it and was
Well, we were kind of worried there.
by 26 island refugees.
China has a signal for unconditional surrender, and it is anticipated.
What up, Brandon?
What up?
Hey, did you see the story on the $1 trillion coin?
I heard about that, but I didn't see the story about it.
It's on Axios. It's
Let's just bust off $1 trillion coin. God, dog.
it's just. Let's see. What does it say?
I
How
just
it
want to
works?
carry it in my pocket once.
Producing a $1 trillion eagle would require only the denomination to be changed. Right. It could be. I guess it could be whatever the hell you wanted it to be. Right. All right. Stand by. Hold on. Don't move.
AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Historically great coffee.
The Daily Mojo.
So it's always interesting to see what the other half on the Twitterverse says. Oh, and this, I did want to bring this up. The Knights Who Say Knee. It was that drug, the bear drug, that gave Ryan White AIDS. Remember the Ryan White story?
Oh, yeah,
the
the kid, yeah.
I did not I didn't connect those two, but yeah, that's so.
Wow,
And
I didn't remember that.
I didn't either, but and I'm sure that's by design. I'm sure that they tried to quash news coverage. See, Postal Pete says Cutter, like the Cutter polio vaccine. And again, go back and look at the history of the polio vaccine, and it was problematic, to say the least. Cougar, Jackhole Diva, OMG, Real Brad Staggs. Not only third world, my cousin died from AIDS after contracting it through Factor S. Wow, this affected more people than I realized. Let's be frank, in PA, is the bear blood AIDS scandal related to the Clinton prison blood farming AIDS scandal? No, but didn't. Beats me. But also, didn't the Clinton administration bomb a bear aspirin factory or something?
Oh,
seems to remind me. And Bayer, the same Bayer that helped produce Zyklon B for the Nazi gas chambers. Telling you, it's when everybody just shut up and get vaccinated. Hey, but I have a few questions about the companies and the people.
Hellacious history back there. Wow.
It's just amazing. Brandon Morse does join us by the miracle of the two-way communications device known as the telephone here at the Daily Mojo. And I just wanted to, first of all, Brandon, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, you don't care, so I'm not going to tell you. But I do want to wrap up the story on Amtrak here, because the fact that back in 70, when they created Amtrak, it was supposed to operate like a for-profit company. Then 8 years later, they said, well, hey, what we were saying about that, nah, not necessarily, whatever. They said that we added the for-profit clause because we thought this new entity should have high aspirations. He was the majority counsel for the Senate Transportation Subcommittee. That would be A. Daniel O'Neill at the time. It would be wonderful if such service could be self-sustaining, but nowhere in the world has any nation been able to avoid subsidizing rail passengers. Funny, because in Japan, they are for profit. Strangely enough, it's in this country, and to be fair, I guess other places in the world, the passenger rail services are not profitable, mainly because it is kind of like, climbing up on board a camel and, taking a hoof across the desert. I mean, trains are not that fast. If you want to get somewhere,
right,
you want to, and especially in the United States, we love our cars and we're going to take our cars. But the fact that with Amtrak, and this is just the overarching theme that government does nothing well. Nothing well. They do absolutely nothing except for take your money. They take your money quite well. Even the New York, and I looked this one up, the New York subway system, you'd think that thing would be, because that thing's packed all the time, and it's the best way to get around in New York. Well, some would argue that, but you'd think, oh man, that thing's got to be turning a profit. Nope. Nope.
No.
And then there's this headline over at CNN, and this kind of explains it. NYPD union president resigns after FBI raids his home and union office. So you see, it's all about the higher ups. It's all about it, and connecting the transit authority to the NYPD, all the government. Again, all the government agencies just don't do things well. They do nothing well. I believe what this Morse code is spelling out right here.
Less than 0.1% of all Americans can understand Morse code. Maybe it's because he's a millennial. Maybe it's because he's just that smart. Brandon Morse and Brad Staggs on the Daily Mojo. Now.
And I would like to say congratulations to Brandon, first of all, for inspiring I think pretty much almost a worldwide chant. Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah. That was me.
It's pretty amazing.
I woke up one morning. I'm just as surprised as you guys, because I woke up and suddenly everyone was just chanting my name in stadiums,
Isn't that weird?
all around the world. I was just like, man, I'm all that hard work finally paid off, and
Right.
the recognition that I feel like I should have been, getting all this time is finally coming my way.
I know.
And it's like
that day has come.
And I'm proud, but I'm also a little humbled.
As that's a sign of that's solid character, right there. That is good, solid character on your part, and I think that your parents would be proud. I think.
Yeah, I mean they are.
They're good.
I like to think that I'm very humble and very, I want to say like a very, very centered guy. When it comes to my personality and stuff like that.
I think that most of us would agree with you for the right price.
Oh,
which
thank you.
Are you? Do you have the Twitch on right now?
I do.
Do you see the shirt
Believe it or not.
that you see the shirt I'm wearing? It's in your honor. There, I don't know how much of a delay.
I do see the shirt. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It has the. Some people get confused about the letters, but
I know
it means the same.
It's Latin, I think. It's Latin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hashtag FJB, which of course translates into Let's Go Brandon. So you can get these at mojo50.com. And for those of you who think that I get them free, no. The company, we pay for them too. We pay for these shirts. We don't get stuff free, do we, Ron?
No.
Nope. We pay for this damn stuff.
We might get them at a little bit more reduced price, but we don't get them free. That's for sure.
So knock off your yapping out there, whoever's yapping. Gosh, what do you I want to talk about today? Because you got the great piece on the pharmaceutical gold rush, which is it's weird that you would suggest pharmacies or pharmaceutical companies are motivated by profit. I don't. And that this vaccine thing could be I don't know. And the Ivermectin, which is not related to ivermectin.
Yeah.
Were you in on that discussion last week?
No.
The ivermectin, it's the new isn't it the Pfizer drug, Ron? The Pfizer antiviral.
Oh yeah, they're trying to build one.
Yeah, they're building one.
It's trying to build a $3 pill. They're going to call it Myveractin.
Right. There's nothing to do with.
So as not to be confused with the other pill.
Myveractin.
It's just, it really is when you start to see how this stuff all breaks down. When ivermectin is bad. It's horse paste. Joe Rogan is growing hooves. You can't possibly do and then suddenly you realize, oh, wait a minute, they're developing another drug that's like the same stuff in a different, it's like in capsule form and wait a minute, this is the same stuff that you want us to buy for more money. That it really is, I would say amazing, but
yeah,
it really isn't all that amazing. I mean, if they would just be upfront.
Yeah, this is the most. We all kind of knew this was happening in the background anyway, because anything that happens in Washington, you follow the money.
Yes.
Where's the money going?
Right.
Where's the money staying once it gets there? How is it being used? These are all things that we know and know very well throughout the course of history, of all human history.
Yes.
It doesn't matter where. Somewhere at the top is a corrupt leader who's trying to pocket more money, give money to his buddies so that they'll help him out, so on and so forth. So, yeah, if you really look at all the money and all the cash changing hands and all the deals being made, then, it's kind of like, oh, it seems to me that, there's more concern for money here than there is for anything else.
And we're all
we're
all about capitalism and making money, and that's fine. But when you have the government in bed with you, and you've got the government preaching and requiring these mandates, again, I've had several people around me say, the vaccine mandates have been all about money, which I guess maybe it was. It's just so. I don't know why it's mind-blowing. Maybe I'm just a simple guy. But it is really amazing that you could make this thing become as large as it has, and it turns out to be about the cash.
Yeah. You get anything that look at Planned Parenthood.
Right.
You know, Planned Parenthood was getting, you know, $500 million from our government every year. The services it provided weren't even close to
Right.
what you could consider health care.
Right.
They couldn't do half of what a regular clinic could do. And there weren't even half as many Planned Parenthoods as there were regular clinics.
Right.
You know, even regular clinics, like many of them, could perform an abortion service, you know, if that's what you were really wanting. But for some reason, Planned Parenthood was getting all that money and the regular clinics were not. And it turns out that if you follow the money, you know, you have, you know, the people who run Planned Parenthood were getting a good little paycheck. All right. They were able to support, fund, and promote Democrat politicians who would then, you know, do their best to keep the money flowing to Planned Parenthood, and it would just keep coming around and around and around. It was effectively a Democrat money laundering service is really what it boiled down to.
Right.
The fact that its funding got, like, that's why they fought so hard to keep the funding going. It wasn't just because they, quote unquote, believe in abortion. A lot of this was their jobs were on the line. Right. You know, their paychecks were on the line. And so they fought very, very hard to keep them. It's why it's one of the many reasons Planned Parenthood should have been shut down a long time ago. You know, it's not really a healthcare service. It's just a Democrat activist platform.
Right.
So, and it's getting government funding. It was nuts. You know, and this story is repeated over and over again in many different ways in various places. You know, follow the money. At the end of the day, like a lot of your conspiracy theories, you know, about how, like, you know, well, it's globalism and blah, blah, blah. Not
Right.
your conspiracy theories, Brad. All yours
I
are
have
correct.
plenty.
Yeah. But like, usually it really just boils down to who's getting paid. Who's making money off of this? Why, you know, who's getting rich? That's really the main question you want to start with. You know, you don't have to worry about cloaked figures in dark rooms performing satanic rituals to, you know, take over the world. It's usually just who's trying to buy a Lambo.
That's a good point. I see all of this plays into why I think there are legitimate reasons to question not only the efficacy but the safety of the vaccines, things like that. I don't understand why that is so such a bad thing to sit back and question. Look, you know, a lot of people want to sit back and wait and see what happens over the course of the next couple of years. And it's, you know, well, let's see what happens to the people who've already had it. And by the way, good time to ask you, have you like grown any weird appendages in weird places?
Well,
except for that one.
I've always had two.
Right. That's
but you know.
Aside from that one that makes you so popular at frat parties.
Yeah. That's why they're shouting, "Let's go, Brandon."
Right. It just, to me, it's not weird for people to say, look, I want to hold off on getting this until I, you know, wait a couple of years, see what happens. And especially given the history of not only pharmaceutical companies, but also given the history of government and their involvement with same. And it's, I don't know if you were, probably not, because you probably weren't awake, but the Bayer thing, the Bayer HIV tainted blood products from the 80s. Do you remember that? Because I didn't.
No, I don't.
All right. It was some of their blood products were contaminated with HIV. That's what killed Ryan White, the kid who got AIDS. And so anyway, instead of trashing these products, they sent them to third world countries apparently, and just, you know, hey, good luck.
Yeah.
And so you have a history of companies like this, and I'm not trying to dog the pharmaceutical companies because, you know, they do a lot of good too. But, you know, when you have a history of things like this, it's prudent to me to stop and say, okay, hang on. Let me step back and let's see how this thing plays out, and then, you know, I'll get the vaccine, whatever. But you're so demonized now, you know, if you question anything, that it really is. I mean, this world has turned so bizarre. But
well, we know that the American government has sunk a lot of money. Like, you know, I think into I think Moderna was paid $6 billion by our own government. in order to develop this vaccine, and they want to get their money's worth, and possibly if it works, they get to keep their jobs because they get to claim, hey, it was us who did this.
Right.
But one of the things that tells me that this quote unquote pandemic is either almost over or does have a definite end point is the fact that you see a lot of companies trying to rush through the FDA approval process. And when I say rush through, I mean like the Pfizer one was done in record time. It's never been done like that before.
Right.
And so you have these people trying to get in before. It's almost like Indiana Jones. They're trying to slide under the closing wall and reach back and get their hat before it closes so they can get their money's worth. And that's exactly what's happening now. Their window is closing, and so they've got to rush these products through. Okay, well, we've got 2 vaccine shots. All right, you got to get those. And if you don't get those, then we're all going to die. But, wait. There's another vaccine. It's like a booster shot you got to get now. We're going to get the FDA approval process on that. And now, next is going to be a pill, and it's going to help that stuff in your body act faster. And, they're going to have one product after another, each of them as ridiculous and almost as useless as the next.
Yep.
So, but we will pay god-awful amounts of money to have it. And what was it? Moderna made I think they're scheduled to make somewhere between $33 to $36 billion by the end of 2021.
That's not
so.
bad.
I mean, just
it's not bad.
It's a neat little, neat little stack of change there.
I could get by on maybe some of that. I mean, just like if they just dropped just one little tiny bag of it, I could probably get by on that. Well, and it's
just a teeny tiny
bag. I mean, they wouldn't even miss it, quite frankly. But it is
no, they wouldn't.
I do believe the pandemic as it is waning because it is what happened to the lambda variant and the Mushu pork variant and the Delta Plus variant.
Those were boring. They were like, oh, Delta. The media had invested way too much time into the Delta variant.
I think you're right.
So they're not gonna really say too much about that anymore, because if you're sold on one product, why would you try to push another?
Yeah. Why pollute the branding? And
exactly.
But seriously, I mean, really, the lambda, and the Mushu went they were just gone. They were here. It was like, oh, you got to be worried. It's terrifying. And the Delta Plus, and then nothing, crickets. Nothing.
Yeah, actually, Delta Plus would be a better selling point than Lambda virus because it's got Delta word in it.
Yes.
So it's got name recognition, name brand recognition.
And
and you could be like, oh, this is the Delta virus, but more powerful. You're going to need this extra strength vaccine.
Yes.
So
with the extra antibodies you need. And
exactly.
Did you see any of the Project Veritas video?
And they're going to have like a sugar-free variant.
Right.
Yes, I did.
Gluten-free. They're going to need a gluten-free variant.
There you go.
And
yeah, I did see
it's amazing that goes nowhere. That just it comes out. I mean, you'd think that would be, again, news, kind of like the Hunter Biden laptop was news, but it goes nowhere. It goes absolutely nowhere.
I mean, the media has learned not to respond or react at all to the Project Veritas videos, because every time that they've gotten in even more trouble. I mean, going all the way to the beginning of Acorn, the moment that the media responds to it. So now they've trained people to basically say, oh, it's edited video.
Right.
And then what's funny is like every single time Project Veritas is like, no, it's not edited. Here's the full release. And, so the media has learned to ignore it. And if they ignore it, then no one will know about it, because they're not out there most of America doesn't have the time we do. They're busy living their lives. They're, raising their kids, taking care of their houses. They're going out with their friends. They don't have time to sit and study this and commiserate over, the fate of our nation. They're just trying to live their lives as their parents intended them to, with this easier life that they keep trying to push on us. But I mean, it sucks, but that's just the way it is. It's also a benefit of being in this nation. But at the same time, they end up missing things like this, and like the answers are out there. The answers are out there. They're laying on the ground ready for you to pick up. But, I mean, the media is going to do its absolute best to make sure that you're distracted, that you have a singular narrative in your mind. And that, if you do happen to come across this Project Veritas video, they want one word to pop up in your mind immediately in order to distract you.
Frog.
Edited.
Oh, edited. Damn it. I thought I was going to get it right.
Yeah, frog. I mean, yeah.
Frog.
That too.
I knew it was one of those. Hey, do you have a link tree thing?
No, I don't have an OnlyFans.
No, not LinkedIn. Linktree. Linktree's different.
Yeah.
Linktree's like, you have one of those?
I have one.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just
no.
discovered
I have a LinkedIn. I don't have a Linktree.
Okay, Linktree is like we're all see, Ron, I am spreading the good word. Linktree is like this thing.
Everybody on TikTok has one.
Oh.
No, I know what it is.
You do know what it is. Okay, why don't you have one then? If you know what it is.
Because I don't have an OnlyFans.
Oh.
Linktree is what TikTokers use whenever they have an OnlyFans, but since they don't allow you to promote OnlyFans straight from the TikTok, you've got to first go to the Instagram, which then allows you to see the Linktree, which then allows you to connect to the OnlyFans.
But wait, you can also put your other stuff on the Linktree, but in my OnlyFans, I've only got like 3 fans.
No one clicks that.
Brad, do you have an OnlyFans account?
One. What is that? Is that I mean,
Wow.
I guess they call me some sort of a fuzzy bear thing. I don't know what it is, but it sounds fun. So I said, okay, I'll be a fuzzy bear. And, that's me. That's just it. All right. So there he is, the Brandon Morse on the Twitters over at Twitcheroo, not the Linktree with the only farmers people, not only farmers. And at redstate.com. I swear to you, tomorrow night I'm going to be on Twitch. I'm making myself a note. Tomorrow night, date on Twitch with you.
Be there.
With you.
Yeah, we keep waiting for you, and no one pops in.
I will. It'll be
From
me.
Mojo.
It'll be
It's
me
sad.
popping. I'll be popping in tomorrow. So
There you
hold
go.
me to it. Or just hold me.
All right, 8 o'clock.
All right.
Standard time.
All
Be
right.
there.
There he
Not
is.
political.
All right, good. Yes, no,
Let's
I'm
go back and
totally
chat. We
cool with
do
it.
that
I
all the
love
time.
that. I just we'll talk about things like Stacey Q.
Come on, two hearts that beat as one. Two hearts, I need you. Two hearts that beat as one.
Hey, Ron, when I dance, do I look like a white guy?
Yes, you do, Brad. C. Bradley.
Stacey Q was hot.
I guess they really wanna
I know what she looks like today.
Yep.
Huh. I ever tell you about the time I met Paula Abdul? And when I say met, we walked by each other in the hall.
I started to say, was it a big meeting, Brad?
She smiled at me. I knew right then and there she wanted me. I mean, it was fairly obvious. You just had to see the look on her face. She just looked at me and I tried to say hello, and the only thing that would come out of my mouth was,
Yeah, how'd that work out?
It's amazing how you just can't talk when you're just, you're trying. Two of hearts, baby. Before, see, do I have time here? No, I don't have time for that one. We'll have to save the Norm McDonald for tomorrow. Because let me just tell you.
That's actually pretty funny.
It is very funny. And it kind of tied into one of the songs from the 80s, which I'd not ever heard this song either. And tell me if you remember this one. Josie Cotton. Does this sound familiar to you at all?
No, that type of voice sounds familiar to me
Right.
because a lot of bands had that lead singer that sounded like that.
All right,
but-
here comes the hook.
Johnny, are you queer?
I vaguely remember this song. Johnny, Are You Queer by Josie Cotton. And the funny thing is, in the video, he doesn't look gay. He looks like
Well,
a giant nerd.
There must be a reason why you're not hearing that song these days.
It's not-
Besides the fact that it sounds like it sucks, the queer
It doesn't
whole- whole
suck.
queer thing.
Well, hold on a second. I know that's probably poor choice of words. Well, but okay, wait a second. Queer is okay. I It's didn't you see Justin Trudeau tweeted out that now there's numbers in the thing, the LGBT. It's 2SL GBT, and it's like there's a number at the beginning and a plus at the end. You haven't seen the latest?
No.
Oh. And yes, so and queer is one of them. So how's it
What do
bad?
you mean it's let's go?
I'm just saying. I
Sorry,
tried
just needed to shut that down before we got too far into it.
That's it. 2 hours that you'll never get back. Ever. Of your Daily Mojo for Wednesday, the 6th of October, the year of our Lord 2021. Let's find out if any of the lessons, tips, tricks, or hacks stuck. And this closing is brought to you by American Pride Roasters. Historically great coffee. Get yours today, or you may be something wrong with you. Let's see. President-elect Jamie, Madonna sucks. People are blind to the truth. Biden is not my president. Trump won.
There you go.
Squatchy Duck sent us the acoustic version of Let's Go Brandon. Let's see. DMXDM, I appreciate 80s Brad. He's lacking the hair metal. I appreciate 80s Brad. Got it. He's lacking the hair metal. I wasn't.
I wasn't a fan of the hair metal.
I like the poppy side of stuff.
Yep.
They're just fun. Saddle Effing Tramp, wait, the Brandon Morse doesn't have an OnlyFans. Might be a revenue source, just saying. I'm telling you, it's worked for me. I'm not saying you should get one. I'm just saying it's worked for me. It's just, it's what are you willing to do for money? And I think we've already established that when it comes to either Ron or myself,
we do a lot of things for a little bit of money.
Fill in the blank. And, 90% chance you're going to get it right. Infringed. This is obesity is most definitely self-inflicted, and vaccines aren't the answer to everything. Kirsten Power said obesity isn't self-inflicted. Yes.
I disagree with that.
There are some conditions that, yes, it can be, but a lot of us just, and I'm in there, a lot of us just too many calories in and not enough out.
Correct.
Ron, he's just, see, unfortunately for Ron, he got the ugly gene too. Not just the fat gene, he got the ugly gene. And then we feel bad for you, so you're kind of a protected class. And the Knights who say, nee. At Romika Designs can sell their shrinkified designs for more money because Real Ron Phillips needs to use his extra strength laser to make them. Exactly. That's the key. Speaking of Romika Designs, coming up next across most of these Mojo 50 radio stations is, in fact, the encore presentation of Abnormal Realities with Ron and his little friend Rocky.
Yeah, we got a replay of Sarah Soderlund's show tonight, or today. It was good.
That's next. That'd be today, yes.
Next. Yeah.
And also taking more bids for that cool sign you'll learn more about next. Your Daily Mojo is made possible by the tender, loving fingers of Real Ron Phillips over there, spinning those dials radio style. Remember, the smallest minority on earth is, in fact, the individual. Those who deny individual rights cannot claim to be defenders of minorities, but that doesn't seem to matter to them anymore. 6 Separate Tyrannis, Resist Stupid, and Good Night, Doc Thompson.
Wherever you are.
Your bell count is next.
Clear, I got to run, dude.
You know what? Kids,
love y'all.
Your father's leaving you.
Love you guys.
Yeah, you don't either. You're just saying that. Just go. Just go.
Good morning, Mojo 50. I'm Leprechaun, and here with the bell count for the Daily Mojo, Wednesday, October 6th, 2021. Today there was one missed innuendo bell for pearl necklace, 12 actual bells, and a rim shot. Peace out, boys. Stay healthy. I'll talk to y'all on the morrow.
Or will you? And now, ladies and gentlemen, our word of the day.
Grammary.
That's weird. It's not what you were thinking either. The noun. It's occult learning. Magic.
Grammary.
Huh. Gramary. Or as Wilson would spell it, Gramarye. I don't know why that's so much harder to memorize.
That is a wrap.
And that's all for today. Mas mañana. That is, of course, Latin for we'll see you tomorrow in the Indian